Today we're talking about one of the most underrated cut flowers, and that is Dianthus. Most people know carnations, but they're just one member of the Dianthus family. Whether you're growing a backyard cutting garden or on your own flower farm, there's a Dianthus for almost every style and situation. Welcome to the Garden Gamble, where we're planting hope, taking chances, and growing memories for every season. I'm Ricky Clausen, owner of Clausen's Greenhouse in northern Minnesota. This podcast is for anyone who's ever stood in the garden, greenhouse, or backyard wondering if they're doing it right. Here we talk real-life gardening, the wins, the mistakes, and everything we learn along the way. Whether you're new to plants or have dirt permanently under your nails, you're in the right place. Let's take the gamble and grow together. Hey everyone, it's Ricky and welcome to another episode of the Garden Gamble podcast. And this week we will be wrapping up our mini series on favorite cut flowers. We've talked about snapdragons, we've talked about zinnias, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Dianthus, which I am really excited to talk about because I feel like it's not talked about enough in the cut flower world. So I'm very excited for that. Here at the greenhouse and the flower farm, it has been a very busy week. The flower farm is now in full swing. Subscriptions are going. We just did our first event where we brought some flowers to the fair. So yeah, everything is in full swing. We've got lots of weeding to do, which of course all of us, I'm sure, that are gardening are weeding our little hearts out right now. But that's kind of part of July, and pretty soon the weeding will start to kind of subside a little bit as the flowers kind of turn into their own little canopy and start choking out the weeds. But yeah, that's one of the big projects right now here on our flower farm, trying to keep up with everything. And we have a few new people that are working in the flower farm with me this year, so it's been a little bit of teaching them how to harvest, what those harvest windows look like. We're making bouquets, and it's just been a lot of fun working with them. And I've got one gal that did come back, Ireland. She's actually our niece, so she helped me in the flower farm last year, and so she's back, and I'm really happy to have her, as well as a few new faces that kind of help out in between their own schedules too. But it's been a really busy week, and even this upcoming week too, it's our local county fairs. Set up booths at both the Pennington County Fair, and then the Marshall County Fair is this week as well. So we've got booths set up at both of those fairs. We'll be in the Marshall County Fair parade to kind of kick off the week here on Wednesday. And then both of the gals that kind of work here too, and one of the guys that helps Cade with the landscaping, they're 4-H'ers, so they are really busy with the county fair too. So trying to get all of that figured out and scheduled and keep things running during these couple busy weeks here with the county fairs. So yeah, it's been busy, but it's also been really, really fun. We'll be bringing a few hanging baskets too to the Marshall County Fair. We'll hang some up around the fairgrounds and in the barns. And so it's just a fun time that we're really looking forward to. But even though we are busy, the flower farm still continues on. Those blooms aren't waiting. So I've got little windows, little pockets where I'll be in and out and back and forth to come harvest and get things done, as well as some help in between there as well. But yes, we are continuing our series on cut flowers. This is our last of our mini series within that for favorite cut flowers, where we're talking about Dianthus. And then next week we'll wrap up our full series. We're doing a Q&A next week for the podcast episode. So if you have any questions, feel free to send those our way, and I will try my best to answer those questions that you have. All right, now let's dive into Dianthus. So overall, Dianthus is a cool season flower. It kind of prefers those cooler temps of the early spring and late fall. I personally have had actually really good luck through the entire season with the varieties that I grow. So I don't know if it's maybe just because We're growing here in the north where it doesn't really get all that hot compared to some other places, but it does really like the cool season best. But yeah, great luck throughout the entire season on the varieties that I'll mention here a little bit later in the episode. Now, Dianthus as a whole is a massive plant family. There are so many different kinds of Dianthus. There's perennials, there's annuals, there's ones for cut flowers that we're going to talk about, some for bedding plants that we sell like here at the greenhouse that are a little bit shorter. It is a huge family. So I feel like it kind of gets skipped over quite a bit because it can be a little bit overwhelming of a topic just because there are so many varieties of Dianthus. So as a greenhouse owner and a flower farmer, I've kind of gotten to see all of it, all sides of this family for the most part. We do sell perennial Dianthus, I've got the bedding plants, I'm growing the cut flowers. So that's maybe why I like them so much. Dianthus is truly one of my favorite flowers. It's one of my favorite perennials because I love the colors and how it works. I love the short bedding plants. I think they just have unique blooms. And truly in the cut flowers, Dianthus are some of my favorites as well. It's ones that I gravitate towards a lot when putting bouquets together and when I'm doing my planning at the beginning of the year. So a few of the cutting style ones for cutting gardens, there's Sweet William style, there's your traditional carnations, and then there's like the Amazon series as well. I personally love the Sweet William style the best. It's what I've grown and had the most success with in the cutting garden. The two varieties that I grow now are the Barcelona Pink and the Sweet White. Those both are in the Sweet William family, and those are just two that I've gravitated towards through the years. I have grown a few mixes of the Sweet series, like a sweet mix, and I've done carnations, and I keep gravitating towards these pink and white. So this year, that's all I did. I just did the Barcelona Pink and the Sweet White. We do grow the Amazon series. Here at the greenhouse, we do the Amazon Neon Purple, which is a really tall, huge blossom. It kind of takes a while for it to bloom here at the greenhouse, and people don't always read the plant tags to see what it's going to look like. So since it is such a late bloomer, we usually have a few left over towards the end of the season. So if we do, I like to take them and I'll pop them out into the flower farm because they are a nice series as well. That Amazon style that I've seen, the very first flush of it, the very first blossom that it gets is massive. I'm talking, if you're watching this on the YouTube version, it's literally like this big. It's huge. Like I use it as a focal flower if I can cut that first blossom, and then the rest after you make that first cut are a little bit smaller but still a profuse bloomer that does really well in bouquets. But yes, the Barcelona Pink and the Sweet White are my two favorite Dianthus varieties in the Sweet William style. I really like them because it kind of gives like that cottage look. And in a bouquet, I use these as a secondary or disc flower. Now the Sweet White one is going to be more globe shaped, where the Barcelona Pink is going to be a little bit more umbrella shaped, I guess you could say, where it's not going to be as much of a full globe as the white. But I really like the pink one almost more than the white actually. But yeah, it just gives me armfuls of flowers all throughout the season, and they have a really long vase life, which I appreciate. So these get to be about 24 to 28 inches roughly. The weather can really play a factor in the stem length for these ones, since they are a little bit of a cool flower on the cutting side. So sometimes I get some short stems that I end up just kind of trimming off and tossing out so I can get one nice long stem. I'm kind of currently struggling with that right now, especially in the Sweet White. But I do think where I have them, I think it has more to do with a soil issue. I think the bed that I have the Dianthus in was a little bit too compact. We had it in one of our old beds, because if you have been listening for a while, at the beginning of the flower farming season, I mentioned that we were revamping a few of our flower beds, and this was one of the old beds, and I just don't think it got aerated enough when we redid it. So I think that soil is just a little bit too compact, and I think it's stunting the growth of these just a little bit, and a few other flowers that are in that row as well. So lesson learned. So keep that in mind for your own going forward. Make sure you've got nice fluffy soil so they can get better established. So for Dianthus, or the Sweet William, you're going to want to harvest when about a third of the flower clusters are opened up, because they will continue to open after you cut them, which is awesome. That gives them a great nice long vase life. You get to watch it continue to open. They're very easy to grow overall, and they are a profuse bloomer because they just keep blooming all season long for me, and I love it. All right, and another little bonus for the Dianthus as well is they are another one that could be edible, and the butterflies love these as well. The way they're shaped, I feel like it is an excellent landing spot for the butterflies, which is why I think they love it so much as well. So like I said, this kind of wraps up our mini series within our cut flower series here of favorite cut flowers. I feel like a lot of people, this might not have been on their radar as one of my favorite cut flowers. I feel like many people were maybe expecting me to say dahlias or Dianthus, those classic ones that everybody loves. And don't get me wrong, I do love those as well. They're just a little bit more work. They can be divas sometimes, the dahlias and the Dianthus. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about Dianthus because I do love it, and I hope that more people will give it a try. So hopefully you're feeling maybe a little inspired. If you get to come out to the flower farm for U-Picks, you can come check out what I have growing here. Those will be starting very, very soon, towards the end of July here and throughout the season until first frost. So keep an eye out for events that we have coming up. And now that the flower farm is in full swing, you can order bouquets pretty much at any time now. You can pre-order one online, or we will always have some in the cooler here when we are open at the greenhouse on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. All right, well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Garden Gamble, and I hope you have enjoyed this mini series of favorite cut flowers. And I know Dianthus might not always be the flower that gets all the attention, but it's one of the hardest working plants in the cutting garden, so I hope that you learned a little bit and enjoyed listening to this episode, and we will catch you next week. Thank you. Thanks for joining me on The Garden Gamble. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with a fellow plant lover. Gardening isn't a gamble when you have the right guidance, and you don't have to figure it out alone. Until next time, take care.